Lightning go into Sunrise down 2-0, and of course, pull off the 5-1 win in Game 3. It's Shooter here.
Wow, that's a nice shooter.
Thank you, everyone. And Thomas Schooley is on his way home. So Thomas Schooley will join us. I said we're going to do it. We haven't done it all season, really. We're going to open up the phone lines. If anyone wants to call in, tell us what you thought about the Lightning game. Feel free, but a lot of people said must win Game 3, 5-1. The Bolts showed up today, not necessarily right at the beginning of the game, because it was the Florida Panthers who scored, once again, the first goal of this game, and it got us nervous here at Casa de Shooter. But the Lightning were able to pull it off the rest of the game, playing pretty great. Vasi bounce back game. Oh, by the way, Brandon Hagel, in case you didn't know, did not play in this game, was suspended for his hit. And let's see if we've got a call here. Who's calling and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is April and Costa from Tampa, Florida.
Oh my gosh, April and Costa, huge Lightning fans. Huge Lightning fans from what I understand.
Dude. Oh my God, so big. We're literally here.
What did you think of the game?
Oh my God, it was remarkable. It was the best Lightning game I've ever seen within this last series.
I think you're absolutely right. Within this last series, Game 3 was the best game. How'd you feel going into this game, though? Did you feel confident? Did you know after the Lightning scored a couple goals and went up 3-1, did you know it was in the bag already? Did you have a hunch?
Oh, absolutely not. You know, the Panthers came in with a roar, and they really took the last two games. So we were very not confident, but, you know, the Lightning really struck their bolts, and they took it in, and they really created that you know, unity within the team and the group, and they took it home.
Unity, I think, is the word of the day today. April, what's going to happen in Game 4? That's the next game.
You know, I think the Bolts are going to just take it down, create a team atmosphere to where they're throwing it and they're making it, and they're going to, you know, convert and really, you know, get those penalties down and really take it home for us.
That's the key. Those conversions and taking it home for us. April, thank you for calling in.
Hey, go Bolts!
Go Bolts. I love it. All right, April. We'll talk to you next time after a Game 4 win, okay?
Absolutely.
Predictions for
Thank
Game
you
4
so
before
much.
you go?
The Lightning are going to take it home 3-1.
3-1.
Bolts.
You heard it from April 1st. All right, April. Hey, feel free to call back in if you want to, okay?
Big fans of you, Shooter. Thank you so much.
All right, April. Take care.
Bye.
All right. That was April calling in from Tarpon Springs, Florida. Watched the game today and was happy with what she saw. I'm curious what you guys saw in this game. What was the difference between this game 1, game 2? Thomas Schooley will be here shortly to give you his sense on the game. And I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about what we saw. We already mentioned early in the game, Tkachuk gets a rebound and an easy tap-in shot, and it was a goal that it seemed like the Lightning kind of stopped skating on at first because I think they thought it was offsides, but there was no challenge on the play. I didn't recall seeing a great replay of it. No challenge, and the Florida Panthers go up 1-0, and then Tampa Bay gets a power play shortly after that, and 0 shots on goal in that first power play. The power play is becoming a problem. I think they're 0 for 10 in their last 10 chances in this series. But before the end of the first period, Tampa Bay finally breaks the ice, gets back on the board. Gensel with a beautiful goal, some nice nifty moves right after he gets a pass from Kucherov with some nice moves as well. And Lightning tie it up 1-1. And then we see Kucherov get one of the Lightning's first penalties of the night. Kucherov roughing penalty after he gets hit, but he gets the call on the penalty. The Lightning luckily killed that off between periods. It went throughout the first and into the second period, and the Lightning finished the period 1-1 tie game. 6 shots for the Bolts, 12 for the Panthers. And you're going to see throughout this game, the Panthers consistently outshot the Bolts, but the Lightning got the best chances, and they finally capitalized on scoring these goals. So going into the second period, Cooch takes a knee-to-knee, a nasty hit, but he gets right back up. So we don't see an extended penalty on that, but that was one of many dirty plays that we saw by the Florida Panthers this afternoon. And don't worry, we will get to the play with Tkachuk at the end of the game here, but we're going to try to break it down period by period. And if you're willing to have the balls to call in like April, April's got big balls. You can call in, tell us what you thought of the game. And hey, if you didn't know, there's going to be a Game 5 here in Tampa. So we want ourselves a Game 5. All right, so Cooch takes that knee-to-knee hit. Florida goes to the penalty, but we can't do anything on the power play. No shots on that first chance. I don't know if they had any shots on this second period penalty that Florida had on the power play. The Lightning were just not playing their game in this series. And I think I did predict that when I was on the sports web, when I talked to Tate and the boys at Sticks of Fire on the Black Bandana. I predicted the Lightning to not have great special teams, but I'll tell you what was great was some of their shorthanded special teams in this game, because they held the Panthers to go 0 for 4 on that penalty kill. During that penalty, Gensel gets a high stick. This would have made it at least a minute-long 5-on-3. Somehow, it was caught on cameras, somehow Gensel does not draw that call, and the Lightning do not get the 5-on-3 advantage that they probably should have got. But it was okay, because at the end of that power play, at the very end, after it had expired, Nick Paul does not pass the puck and takes a shot on a 2-on-1. This is very un-Lightning-like, and scores a goal, putting one past Bobrovsky. Jason, are you with me on the phone lines?
Hey, Rob.
What's up, man?
What's wrong with Matthew Tkachuk?
What's wrong with him?
He's the bum. He's the bum. He's the bum. Thanks for picking up, bud. Later.
There you go. Jason, my man, Sticks of Fire in the house. Yeah. Matthew Tkachuk, we'll get there. We'll get there. But like I said, Nick Paul makes it 2-1. Nick Paul, by the way, the game-winning goal tonight. I know we scored 5 goals, but the game-winning goal was the second goal because the Panthers only scored that first goal. We scored 5 unanswered goals this game. Where was that for game 1 and 2? I'm still trying to figure out what the difference was between this game and the other games. By the way, no Hagel this game. That's huge, missing him. Ekblad, one of their best defenders, comes back for this game. Advantage them. And, here's a big surprise. Barkov is not injured after taking that vicious hit from Hagel, which it was a bad hit. He did probably deserve to get that suspension. But I'll tell you what, if he gets that suspension, there better be a suspension coming tomorrow for Tkachuk. We'll talk about that. I want to wait for Schooley. All right, 2-1. Florida gets another penalty. Again, 5 power play chances, no goals, not enough shots on those power plays. They've got to figure out something against Florida on this power play. Vasi with some huge saves on Bennett in the second period. Fight kind of breaks out, a little tussle once Vasi makes a couple saves, and Tkachuk actually ends up going to the box for another pretty dirty, vicious hit on Hedman. Kind of a blindside hit, not as bad as the hit we'll talk about, but knocks Hedman into the goalie, and Tkachuk gets caught and goes into the box. But the Lightning don't really get much of a power play there because at the end of that period, fisticuffs break out. Everyone's rumbling a little bit. Nobody's dropping the gloves. And somehow Anthony Cirelli gets the only penalty. So the power play that was going to be really gets slashed into not even half a power play. But it really didn't matter. That actually helped the Lightning because going into the third period, we get 4-on-4 and 21 seconds into the third period. The Bolts go up 3-1. It's your boy, Gensel, with his second goal of the game. And this is when Gensel, I guess, became a target for the Florida Panthers in this game. But yes, Bolts go up 3-1. We're all feeling really good about the Tampa Bay Lightning's chances to win this game. Finally up in the series, playing with the lead, and less than 20 minutes to defend a 2-goal lead. All right, so Bolts end up shorthanded because that Cirelli penalty there, and they still stop the Panthers from scoring. Again, as bad as our power play was, our penalty kill was very good tonight as well. Paul got some sort of BS holding penalty in the third period. I didn't like that. Barkov had a really great chance. By the way, Andrei Vasilevsky, for all the people that were knocking him for the 1 goal he let in game 2, and a whole bunch of them that went in game 1, Andrei Vasilevsky came back strong, and if he plays like that for the rest of the series, we'll win the series. Huge save on Barkov, who was point blank right in front of him, and Vasi makes the huge save. Nick Paul gets a chance to break it open to 4-1 and hits the post on a breakaway, but the Lightning just couldn't have been stopped at this time. Glenn Denning, of all people, the fourth line steps up. Glenn Denning scores, and it is over. They followed it up with an empty net goal, but let's talk about it. Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up on the screen here. We'll pretend like Thomas Schooley's here, and we'll use his spot. By the way, you can call in. We'll get to the comments here after I show this. I want to get everyone's opinion on this because I'm going to be very upset if we don't get the same results in that Brandon Hagel got for his hit. So bear with me here. We're doing some on-the-fly editing here. We're just going to have to share the whole screen. I posted it on at We the Thunder Pod on X. Hopefully you're out there watching on X. But here it is. There's Gensel right there. Puck nowhere near And I think they show it again on this. Just a vicious intent to injure. I think the difference you're going to see here, and here it is again, Matthew Tkachuk, all he is trying to do is injure Gensel there. Puck's not even close. At least in the Hagel hit, the puck was in the area. I don't know how you do not suspend him for at least one game for this. And this is not his first time getting in trouble with the league. So maybe it's 2 games, but with the Lightning luck this series, this is hopefully a 1 game. I don't know how you justify not giving him at least 1 game when you just gave Brandon Hagel 1 game for a similar hit, but I think this hit's worse. The puck's nowhere in the area. The main difference in this is Gensel actually gets up and doesn't pretend to be injured the rest of the game and up until the next game, like Barkov conveniently did. So I'll take that off the screen because we'll get flagged for that for sure. But I don't care. Let's go to the chat here. Leah says, LFG. Jasper is flexing them. Spencer, do you think Tkachuk will get suspended after the hit by Matthew? I just talked about it. He's got to get suspended for that. I don't know how you don't suspend him after suspending Hagel last night, which, by the way, why didn't that suspension happen till like 8 o'clock last night? But you've got to suspend Tkachuk after that, at least 1 game. So advantage Bolts. They're going to get Hagel back, and Tkachuk should be out the next game. Kyle said Nick Paul played a way different game. Yeah, Nick Paul was huge in this game. That's what the Lightning needed. The Lightning needed someone on the bottom 6 to stand up and make a difference, score some goals, do something in this game. And Nick Paul was the difference maker out of all the people. You got to give Jake Kensel credit for the 2 goals, obviously. But Nick Paul was that guy that is the bottom 6 guy that finally stepped up and did something in this game. Let me move this so I can see the comments here. Yeah, Paul skated faster, took shots, passes crisp. Absolutely, 100% right. Donnie Pepin, our in-house, our favorite Leafs fan, if there is such a thing as a favorite Leafs fan. Tkachuk eats corn the long way. We can agree with that. There's one thing that Toronto fans and Lightning fans can agree with right now. It's we don't like Tkachuks very much. So yeah, the whole Tkachuk family is dirty, he says. And there's Tater with if he's not suspended, we all know the fix is in. He's got to be suspended. If he's not suspended, the Lightning should almost protest playing in the next game. That is absolute BS because there was not a puck around. The only difference is Jake didn't sit there on the ground and hold his head and leave the game, which honestly he should have. He should have taken that right out of the Panthers book. Go right to the bench, be nowhere to be seen, don't practice, pretend like you're questionable for the next game. But our guys didn't do that. You saw Cooch get hit pretty hard several times throughout this game, got up every single time. Our guys don't do that. Our guys don't sit there on the ice and pretend that they're injured. The Florida Panthers, I don't know, maybe Barkov was injured, but I didn't think he was going to miss this game. And he sure didn't miss a shift this game. So that's called gamesmanship, and that's part of the game. So I'm proud of Jake for getting up and all our guys for getting up after taking some big hits in this game. Phone lines are open. Let's go through some of the stats here. Again, Thomas Schooley is en route and headed home after a Lightning 5-1 win. Just 22 shots for the Lightning in this game to the Panthers 34. Huge game for Vasi after letting in that early goal, which was kind of a weird goal to begin with, off a rebound where they kind of stopped skating. Vasi bounced back in a big, bad way with 33 saves in this game, and he was definitely a difference maker. I didn't see the 3 stars yet, but 22 shots to 34. The Bolts, they weren't throwing everything on net, but they really capitalized on the chances that they got. The face-off percentage, the Lightning finally came out on top of that battle, winning 57%. 0 for 5 on the power play, but I guess that's okay if you're going to keep the Panthers 0 for 4. And then the hits, Lightning 34, Panthers 43. The Lightning continue to get more physical as this series goes. They're still, I guess last game they did technically out-hit the Panthers, but I think they're starting to match their physicality. The stat that I really like in this game was block shots. The Lightning finally started blocking shots. 23 this game to the Panthers 17. If I remember correctly, the Lightning did not even hit double digits in block shots the last game. So a huge difference in this game for the Lightning, who finally showed up. And I think they also had some puck luck here in this game that helped tremendously. So the other big difference in this game was these guys came out scoring. We talked about Nick Paul, but it was Braden Point actually who had the first goal of the game. Actually, they must have changed that because I thought that first goal was by Jake Gensel. So it does say on NHL.com, Braden Point did score the first goal. I don't know how I missed that. I was sure it was Gensel on that first goal. But no, Gensel with the assist, Kucherov with the assist, Nick Paul with the game-winning goal there. I loved how he was on that 2-on-1 and decided, I'm going to shoot it. Because if he passed it, if you look at the replay, that pass was not getting through. The Florida player was already sliding at him. Nick Paul made the quick decision to take the shot, and that's what these guys need to do the rest of the series. Jake Gensel did score a goal, assist by Cooch, assist by McDonough, and then Luke Glendening with kind of the nail in the coffin, and then Anthony Cirelli. I don't care if it's an empty net goal. Anthony Cirelli's first of the postseason. By the way, Cooch, 4 points in this game. Our guy, our MVP, showed up in this game. And that is one of the biggest differences in this game. Let's see some more of the comments here. Julie says, how do I message the NHL and request a review in suspension for the hit on Jake? He's definitely going to get a talk with player safety for that hit. It's crazy how it was almost an identical play and an identical call on the ice to what had happened on Thursday night. We saw Hagel get suspended, and it wasn't a good hit. Hagel shouldn't have done it. It was a clean hit. It was shoulder to shoulder. It just kind of got Barkov in the head because of the whiplash effect, but it was not a hit on the head. Tkachuk's hit was not a hit on the head, but both of them, you could kind of tell they knew they were going in for a hit when they probably shouldn't have been. Hagel could have gotten away with his because Barkov touched the puck right before that, and the puck was in the area. But with Gensel, the puck was not anywhere near that. That was just Tkachuk trying to hurt our player. And that's why I think it would be absolute insanity if he does not get suspended, because he even got the same call on the ice. This is the first time in forever we're hearing about 5-minute penalties for interference, but we've seen 2 in 2 consecutive games. So they've got to figure that out. The NHL, they're going to have the Lightning all over them if they don't even the score here and give Tkachuk at least one game. And Tkachuk's been in trouble before. I guess so has Hagel. So we can't really hope for 2 games. But I don't think we're going to see Tkachuk in game 4. And we know that Hagel will be back for game 4, and we know he's going to be flying around. All right, Elizabeth, they did change it. Oh, so that Jake's goal went off Point's leg. Okay, I somehow missed that. So yeah, Pointer with the goal there. But yeah, Pointer, Gensel, and Kucherov, they showed up finally for these games, scoring points like they normally did. It's wild. You never know what's going to happen in the NHL with these home games, away games. Sometimes it just doesn't matter. We could see the Lightning come and win on Monday night and come back with this series tied 2-2. They've got some momentum now, and they're going to have the advantage, assuming that Tkachuk gets that suspension and Hagel, we know, will be back. Raymond is not crying in his pillow tonight. It's been rough, man. This has been a rough series. Those first 2 games were not good, but hey, I kind of had a feeling the Bolts were going to bounce back this game, and it's not over yet. They win tomorrow, and then we got a completely different series, and we have home ice advantage again. Sorry, if they win Monday. If they win Monday, we get home ice advantage again because it becomes a 3-game series with 2 games here in Tampa. And hopefully they can decide to start to win some of these games. Yes, I love this comment from Raymond. Game 5, Hagel, Kachuk drop the mitts on the opening face-off like they did in the Four Nations. If that doesn't happen, somebody needs to write the NHL a letter and get them hooked up with the WWE guys because that is a storybook Game 5 for this. I would love to see that happen. That needs to happen, actually. I would love to see that. Game 5, which will happen, by the way, here in Tampa, Amalie Arena. Game 5 is going to be Wednesday. So get your tickets now. Hey, if you don't have tickets to that game, now is a good time to get them. Use our code at SeatGeek.com. Plenty of seats available. That code's WTTPOD. You get $20 off your first time on SeatGeek. And go watch the game at Amalie. This team's got to eventually win another game at home. We only won 1 game at home last year out of 3. Oh, yeah. We had 3 home games. We only won the game that Sergachev miraculously came back to play in. And then we went back to Sunrise and lost in game 6. So the Lightning put themselves back in the series with this game. You know I'm right, said they were dead. He said that this team sent them out into the Gulf of America and light that ship on fire as you're sending them out. You thought it was over. You thought this team had no chance. I might have been right there with you for a little bit, but guess what? That's how the NHL works. That's how a 7-game series works. The Lightning are right back in the series, and if they win on Monday, watch out. Watch out. And I think what we've seen, and you can call if you think I'm wrong, I'll put the number back up there. Everyone wants us to put the phone lines up, but nobody ever wants to call. And sometimes we get really bad calls in the first place. But I'm going to put the phone line back up there. If you want to call, give us your comments. What's been the difference tonight? I think the main difference that I've seen was the Lightning have just gotten better every game of this series and learned how to play the Florida Panthers and now finally how to beat the Florida Panthers for the first time in this series. Oh, we have one of our favorite callers on the line. Who's with us?
I'd rather not say my name.
Oh, well, can you give us your thoughts on the game?
I thought it was great, but I'm just curious. Do you think that they can win it all now? The whole thing? Can they win 4 games?
Well, are you talking about winning the series in 4 games?
Yes.
Or winning the whole thing?
Well, let's just handle this series. Can they win 4 games? Can they win 3 more?
What makes you think they can't win the series?
Oh, I think they can. I'm just curious what you guys think.
Well, my colleague Thomas Schooley might tell you no, they can't. They're not good enough. But I'll never tell you that. I still think that they can win the series. But game 4 is going to be huge. If they can win game 4, it's a 3-game series. So let's take it one game at a time, anonymous lady.
I like your optimism. Go Bolts!
Do you have any predictions for the next game? Oh, she hung up. Anonymous caller, number 1. Hey, you can call in. You don't have to be anonymous. Or you can be anonymous if you want to. But a huge Lightning win, a day game. We know the Lightning don't always play their best games during these day games. But, hey, they played good enough to win today. And a huge 5-1 win. You know I'm right is not talking. He is not saying a dang thing. Sue thinks they can win 4 more. Guess what? They only have to win 3 more to win this series. I want to hear it if you're out there watching. if you guys think the Lightning are going to turn this series around, if they win Game 4, watch out. If they win Game 4 and go back to Amalie Arena, maybe they've got something in them to win a playoff game at home. Maybe. But from what I've seen, the Lightning are I feel like they're kind of learning on the fly how to win in the playoffs. Because remember, we've got a lot of guys that have won games in the playoffs. We've got a lot of guys that have won Stanley Cups with this team. But we've got a lot of guys that have not been here before, right? Like Nick Paul. Yeah, Nick Paul's played a lot of playoff games for the Bolts too. But he's never won the Stanley Cup. We've got a lot of guys that are in their first Stanley Cup playoffs. They're still trying to learn how this game is played. You know, you've seen Geeky, Gonzalez. These guys are in their first playoff series, their first playoffs ever. They're still trying to figure out what it takes to win. So what I've seen is this team, I mean, we started down here, right? We started at the bottom of the barrel, but what I've seen is huge step from game 1 to game 2. Sure, we forgot to score goals in the second game. That sucks, especially at home, especially when you have a bunch of power plays and you still can't score. But another step in this game, winning a game on the road against the Stanley Cup champions. And I really feel like this team is learning on the fly how to win in the playoffs. And it helps when you have guys that know how to win, like Kucherov, Gensel, and Point leading the way in points this game. So let's go back to some of the stats here. See if anything really stands out. We are waiting on Thomas Schooley. The phone lines are open. What's nice about this day game is it's not even 5 o'clock yet. And we get to enjoy the rest of our Saturday knowing that the Lightning have extended this series at least one game. So let's see some of the stats here. Jake Gensel, an amazing game. I got to check out the 3 stars. If you guys want to give me your 3 stars, I'd love to see that. If anyone knows the official 3 stars, I'd love to see that as well. But Jake Gensel is probably going to be my number 1 star with 3 points, 1 goal, 2 assists. We thought it was 2 goals and 1 assist, but 3 points either way. And he was a +4 on 23 minutes of ice time. Jake Gensel was a horse this game, and that's why you started to see him getting targeted towards the end of the game. Kucherov, probably a 2nd star here, 3 assists this game. Back to normal Kuch. Didn't get a goal, but 3 assists, was a +3, 21 minutes on the ice, 27 shifts, just 1 shot on net. Gensel, by the way, had 5 shots on net. Other than that, Gage Gonzalez ended up with 2 points, 2 assists. Again, pretty good for a rookie. Really playing one of his first games. Gord had an assist. Point had that goal that went off his leg. Nick Paul had the goal. Glendening had the goal. Nothing really stands out here. Sorelli, 7 hits in this game. He was hitting everyone. He hit more than anyone else for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Victor Hedman, 22 minutes of ice time. Not quite as much as Jake Gensel. Again, I got to give Jake Gensel the number 1 star of this game for his just 1 goal. That first one was awarded to Point, but he did have the 2 assists, 5 shots on goal, 3 hits, a +4, 23 minutes and 46 seconds. And then if I'm adding 1 more star, I guess I'm giving Vasi the 2nd star, 33 saves on 34 shots allowed. And then I'll stick with Cooch with those 3 assists as the 3rd star. Curious what you guys think. We'll talk to Thomas Schooley here shortly, but let me know who your 3 stars are. Let's see what you guys are saying. As Lloyd Christmas would say, so you're saying there's a chance. I think we need to download that sound effect here. I don't think I've got any Jim Carrey, but we'll give it one of these. Ding. Run on, Raymond. Token Dave's dying for one of these. It's just a coaster, man. It's just a coaster. All right. So what's he say, though? They valued possession over position. That's a winning recipe versus Florida. Like I said, I think they're starting to figure out how to beat the Florida Panthers. Gensel, Pauly, and Vassie. Yeah, I left Paul off, but man, we talked about that earlier. Paul definitely deserves a star this game too. They needed a guy like him to step up. We have many players with playoff experience. Yeah, but we have a lot of guys, Julie, that have zero playoff experience, more than we've had in the past. And we have several that don't have Stanley Cup experience. So you're saying Jake, Vassie, and Cooch. You're right in line with me there. Paulie led in hits as well. Did I miss that? My bad, Nick Paul. We know you do it all. Ellen says the Tampa Bay Lightning played today. That's right. This is what we remember. Whatever Coop did, keep doing it. I don't know. I don't know how much credit we need to give to coaching in this. But this was definitely a team that was ready to win tonight, or today, I should say. I thought Paulie led. All right, maybe I was wrong about my stats here. Did I miss Nick Paul with 8 or more hits? Nick Paul had 4 hits. Anthony Cirelli had 7 hits this game. So it was actually Cirelli who was our physical force, which is crazy because Cirelli is definitely playing injured. Let's see. Raymond says, I bet Hedman didn't throw a single body check with that massive size he brings. Yeah, well, we know Hedman doesn't really like to hit. So I'm not surprised at all. And that's just not Hedman's game. But you piss off Hedman, he will throw some hits. Let's see. Hedman. Yeah, it is kind of wild when you look at Hedman's stats and you see he only had 1 hit. But it's just never been Heddy's game to be a big hitter. And that's why he stays pretty healthy, too. You know I'm right has to bring us down to earth. Hold on. No, I have a better buzzer than that. You know I'm right has to remind us that we're still losing the series right now. Yeah, we're still in a hole. But it's a lot less of a hole. And they should have one of their best players, or at least one of their players that has been killing us. Another goal tonight for Tkachuk, but he should be out next game. Those coasters are fired. Dave, listen, Dave, for $100, this could be yours, and I will mail it today. I'm just kidding. We'll listen, we got a couple extra coasters. We'll figure it out. Are we thinking that 5-minute major leads to a suspension? I think it 100% better be a suspension. You're looking at an almost identical, and in my opinion, a worse hit than Brandon Hagel. Same exact penalty. The only difference here was Hagel's hit. Barkov was actually closer to the puck, at least. Gensel was nowhere near the puck. And then beyond that, Gensel, like a real man, gets up, and Barkov stays down, pretends like he's injured for 2 days, and then miraculously plays today. Did anyone think that Barkov was not going to play in this game? Because you were bamboozled. He was playing in this game all along. That was all part of getting the suspension put down. But like I said earlier, there's something about this Lightning team. They don't stay down. If they stay down, they're hurt. They're getting helped off the ice, and they're out. Florida Panthers, they play the game like they're playing soccer. I see them get hurt enough and stay down, and then they come back right after, on the next shift. All right, Jason, what do you got here? Seems that the boys went to video from the Oilers-Cats final. Yes, I've been reminding people of that. The Oilers had figured them out, but didn't give enough gas to finish the reverse sweep. That's right. So I posted about that the other day. Just the last Stanley Cup Finals. Panthers go up 3-0. Oilers come back, win the next 3 games, and the Panthers win Game 7 at home. So sadly, we did not see the Panthers not win the Stanley Cup. They pulled it off, but they almost choked away that series. So Thomas Schooley is in the house. Let's get him on the screen. No, he disappeared. Oh, no, he's back. He's got a squirrely little fella today. Let's try to get him on here. We'll do some editing on the fly here. And I like this. I like when I'm like hovering over you. I told you the Bolts would win game 3. Thomas, Lightning win a playoff game. It's not at home, but we don't need to win home playoff games. That's not our thing, is it?
Well, we'll need to be able to get through this series, at least one. But it's funny. It's something we talked about for those that joined us or even watched when we were at what's the name of the bar? Top Shelf.
I don't know, but I don't think we can go there anymore. We just lose games when we go there.
When we went to Top Shelf, the first game after the first game, we called them out for not answering back on the checks. So then second game we got that, but then we were like, well, I guess we need to call out on goals. We got that today. We tease all the time that they watch this show, but who was the one player I called out last game? Nick Paul. And Nick Paul here tonight looked like playoff Nick Paul that we've known in the past. So it was great seeing that they're coming together, and kind of odd with Hagel going out. You get more minutes for a player like Nick Paul, but now he comes back for the next game, and it's going to go back to minimum. Although I still think they'll go 12 and 6 next game. I was listening to the radio on the way home with Eric Harrelson, and he was talking about how the PK really did great today, especially with Hagel, who's one of your top PK people. And then Sorelli got plenty of those penalties and was in the box. So the whole pairing, the PK pairing that we usually have, that's so good. And you have to watch out for the shorties. We're both not being able to be used. So then you had Glendening and Gergensen, who really stepped up and played the role in the PKs today.
Yeah, and then you also had Jake fill in. I was just talking about how Jake had more ice time than anyone else. Definitely by far the first star of the game for me was Gensel. But yeah, it was him kind of filling in back there for Hagel on the penalty kill, and he did it well. I don't know if you know this, but Gensel did not get that first goal. It went off point. Somebody was saying in the chat. Point
ended up getting credited with the goal.
But either way, Gensel with 3 points was a +4, over 23 minutes of ice time, 5 shots on goal, 3 hits. Massive game for him. Who do you think were the 3 stars of the game?
Well, you would have to say Cooch. Finally, Cooch is getting scoring, and he's been feeling the pressure. So there's a monkey off of his back. Getzel for sure. When I was listening to the post-game interviews, I don't know who the player that was that they were interviewing, but said the bigger the game, the bigger Getzel gets. And I think this one was a huge game for the Lightning. And look what Getzel did. 3 points also. Kucherov, 3 points. Vasi playing Vasi. And the NHL Network just came out and said that since the second period of Game 2, Vasi has been very playoff Vasi-like. And it's going to be exciting on Monday to see them if they can get back in this game. I see here, do you think Tkachuk gets suspended after that hit?
Did you see the hit?
I don't know. Yeah, but he did make Maurice a liar, because Maurice did just come out and said we only hit guys with the puck. And then clearly he did not have the puck when
the puck wasn't even close. I thought, did you think that was a worse hit than Hagel's hit?
Yes.
Yeah. There's no way he doesn't get suspended for at least a game, right?
I would think so. Yeah, if you got to be fair, you got to play this, but we'll see if player safety even looks at it.
Same penalty. Another 5-minute interference call.
Yep.
The Lightning should absolutely riot if Tkachuk is allowed to play in Game 4.
Yeah, now something I was listening to the Chief, and the Chief was saying, as long as the refs keep allowing this stuff, the Panthers are going to do it.
Oh, they
They're
played
gonna
dirty all game.
Yeah, they're gonna smother our players, but like he said, why we don't do it back to them, he doesn't understand. Why
Because
is
we get the
Reinhardt?
penalties
Yeah, that's true.
at the end of the second period. Everybody's kind of like fighting with each other, and somehow Anthony Sorelli is the only person that goes to the box. How does that happen? Everybody's fighting. Like nobody's really fighting, but they're all, there's a scrum. They're all grabbing each other, and somehow Sorelli gets the only penalty, ruins our power play, but luckily we actually scored on the 4-on-4 in the third period, and that was really a back-breaking goal, making it 3-1, giving the Bolts that 2-goal lead. And by the way, this is, I believe, the first time the Lightning have had the lead in the series. And man, do we play a different game when we have a lead against this team. They were still pushing, but their pushes were all on third period power plays.
Yeah, and good job this PK when it was non-existent in game one. We still have some work to do on our power play because we can't seem to score on the power play since the very first power play on game one. But the PK is something, obviously, they've talked about it and they're responding to.
Yeah, they're giving up some chances, but they're playing it well. And like you talked about, Vasi's playing better as well. Yeah, Token Dave says 0 for 9 in the last 9 power play chances for the Lightning. I think it's definitely a problem. I think the good thing about it is it's offset by our penalty kill not letting them score on the power play. So it's almost like special teams is just a wash until it's not in one of these, next upcoming games. But they need to try to figure that out. If they can get a couple goals on the power play in these next couple games, that can be what helps them win this series. The problem that I'm seeing is on these power plays, they're just not getting any good chances. I think the first power play, they didn't have a shot on goal. I don't know if they had a shot on goal on the second power play, but the way that they're not even getting shots on these power play are not good scoring chances is concerning, and that's coaching. The coaches need to do something there. It's Halpern, right? Who's power play coach or special teams?
Yeah, it's Halpern, yeah.
Got to figure it out. Got to figure it out. This is a top 5 power play team. I was saying on those podcasts that I went on before this series started on Monday that don't expect the Lightning to score too many power play goals. This is not what I meant. I meant maybe 2 for 9. Not
so this is your fault, is what you're saying.
I just know that the Panthers play a tight PK versus the Bolts power play.
They smother, but there's 2 players that really have been good this whole series, I think, that hasn't gotten a lot of credit, and that's Geeky and Gonçalves. I thought Gonçalves got 2 points today.
2 assists.
Yeah. I think those 2 really are going to break out because I think with these matchups that the Panthers are doing against our team, that's really leaving their speed and their strength, the availability to get out there and really get up there.
Yeah, huge game for them. And what I was saying before you jumped on is the encouraging part for me is the Lightning have definitely got better every single game of this series. And it's almost like, all right, we finally figured out how to beat them. So can they take advantage of this in game 4, especially with one of their top players probably, hopefully, out? We get back Hagel, who Hagel's going to be skating like he is on fire.
But he wants Kachuk in that game. He wants to fight.
Game 5 needs to start in Tampa, opening ice, a la 4 Nations tournament, USA versus Canada. Let's do it again, except we get to cheer for the Canadian.
I was going to say this time it will be 100% cheering for the Canadian.
That's what needs to happen for Game 5. We know we're getting to Game 5 now. That's what
Yep.
needs to happen. They need to make a statement. Why? I would just love to see Hagel knock his ass out and the Lightning just sweep him the rest of the series. That would be unbelievable.
And don't think if you're in any of these groups that I'm in, even Thunderbolts, when you start talking about sweep, that I'm not going to spend the rest of the night tonight calling you out. So I am going to use the little search bar in all these groups and just put in sweep and see who's all said sweep.
All right, we'll take it easy. I didn't go that far, but I was a little worried about these guys. I didn't go that far. I had a feeling, I had a hunch, even without Hagel, that they were going to win this game. And I do feel like the Panthers are going to start to feel the pressure now. That this game on Monday night, Game 4, is going to have a lot of pressure on the Panthers, and the Lightning just need to play the Lightning's game and win that game and come back and make it a 3-game series with us getting home at ice advantage. So a huge game 4 on Monday, which I will not be at the post-game show for.
No, and can I say something to the event staff at Amalie or the promotions giveaway people at Amalie or whatever? No rally towels. They had rally towels today down in Sunrise.
They raised the white flags too.
Here's the thing is that if there are rally towels, that means you're behind. So stop with the rally towels. Stop giving them out. The reason why you had 20 cases still left over for Game 2 is because people didn't want them after Game 1.
I don't know. Mine is from Game 2.
Yeah, so stop giving out rally towels. I understand you don't want to give us the drums anymore. Then just stay with the clappers then, the little fans, whatever you want to call them. Just stay with the fans. Don't give out these stupid rally towels because that means we're rallying. And every game now that has had rally towels. But
there's no rallies in these games. It's 100%.
The Panthers had nice ones. Theirs had lights on them that lit up,
cool.
Which Nashville had them when I went there a couple seasons ago. But yeah, theirs had little lights in them that lit up red and stuff. Didn't help them.
Yeah, I don't care about the towels or anything, but I really feel like for the Lightning, the key is going to be scoring first. I know they didn't score first today, but man, they just were a different team when they had the lead in this game.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's see. What else we got in the chat here? Token Dave, we should pass behind the net and not back to the point, similar to how the Kings operate. Dude, that Kings-Oilers game was bananas. Was that just last night that I watched that? I feel like
Kings, go.
Some of these late games, I feel like I'm dreaming watching, probably because I'm half asleep watching them. But did you see what I'm talking about, where the Kings were winning? The Oilers came back, scored a goal in a questionable goalie interference challenge on the Kings. I'm thinking of John Cooper in Game 1 with that horrible challenge. They lose the challenge, so the goal stands. The Oilers tie it up, and then the Oilers score 10 seconds into the power play to take the lead with 5 minutes left, and they win the game. These coaches, man, you gotta be smart about these challenges, knowing that you're going to be giving up potentially a power play to the other team. John Cooper's in Game 1, obviously we talked about. That's a bad challenge. But he was shown up. I don't know who the Kings coach is, but he was shown up by the Kings coach, which maybe had the worst challenge in history. Again,
well, I think they had kind of shut down the Oilers' power play, so I think his thinking was, if we can get that off the board, or even if we lose the challenge, we've been able to fight off their power play. Not last night.
Yeah. Yes, sir. All right. What else?
How about these start times?
It's bananas.
So,
you have different start
Monday
times.
7 and Wednesday 7:30. So
Just trying to keep up.
They do 8:30, 6:30, 1 p.m., 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. I mean, can you get all over it? But other teams are also complaining, so it isn't just the Lightning. I mean, Minnesota started at 10 p.m. their time the other night.
Oh, that's
Um,
what are they doing?
yeah. So if you're in Minnesota watching the game, it was 10 o'clock. So I guess
I don't know. I don't mind every once in a while a day game on the weekends, but yeah, it seems like we just get the short end of the stick with some of these games getting
I'm
scheduled.
trying to see Jay is down in Sunrise, and he's doing the player interviews. And
Yeah, he just posted Cooper. It looks like a 4-minute Cooper clip here. If you want to try to interpret that. What do you think?
he said you would never know in the locker room after game 2 that they were down 0-2.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh.
That's what Coop just said in that interview.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's surprising actually, because the way that they lost those first 2 games, but like we talked about, they got better. They corrected things in that second game. They just forgot to score. And we know they know how to score goals. Right? So they put it all together today. It won't be easy to do again on Monday, but we win on Monday. I think we win this series. Was that a bold prediction for you, Thomas Schooley? Clip that, motherfucker. I said it. If we win on Monday, we're going to win the series.
I say we do win Monday and we win the series.
In 5 games.
Well, I said 5, but has to go at least 6 now.
Yeah. You guys should have listened to old Uncle Shooty. 7 games, boy.
I did say 5, but I do. I think
we showed up like we thought the Panthers were going to start the playoffs.
Yeah. And a good job for the Lightning not getting defeated when they gave up that first goal today. I mean, that was really the only thing in game 2. So, to sit there and give up that goal and not go, shit, here it goes again, a 1-0 game, all the way until the end, and then empty netter. This is what we're going to have to deal with again. We're going to have to deal with all the post whistle scrums, all the hits, and trying to figure out Bob. And so good for them for not just going back into their head as in game 2 and coming out and saying, okay, we gave up the first one. Now let's go and get it.
Well, especially since that first goal was kind of a fluky, weird goal. And they went on a power play right after that. And it was an awful power play.
Mm-hmm.
No shots on goal for the first power play. So, yeah, kudos for them for coming back to tie the game in the first and then take the lead in the second and then just bury them in the third. I liked how we didn't go into full defensive mode either. We were still trying to score. We were still playing aggressive. We were still playing physical. We were still pressing in that third period. And what did we get out of it? 3 more goals?
Well, this had to be a statement game. This had to be a statement game for the Lightning. They couldn't go down 0-3 because then Sunrise would have been absolutely crazy on Monday. So you couldn't go down 0-3 in the series. So this was a statement, and they had to step on their throats when they got ahead. They couldn't just step back but we tend to see that in the playoffs. In the regular season, they get that lead, and then we always complain. You let them back in, and about 50% of the time it bites them in the ass, and they end up losing the game. But in the playoffs, you tend to see where they step on that gas, step on that gas, step on that gas when they get ahead. And I think, that's what they had to do as a team and say, okay, we can do this. We can score on Bobrovsky. We can shut the crowd up here in Sunrise, and our key players can get points. You had Kucherov with only 1 point in the first 2 games. I mean, two-time Art Ross champion
It just doesn't
who
happen much. Yeah.
who potentially could not be out of the first round in 2 years. That say what you want about him being the best scorer in the regular season. I mean, you can't shit the bed in the postseason. I understand he gets draped on and everything else, but you got to find a way to get coach involved.
He's getting so worked this game, though. They're just targeting him, and they're all over him. So,
and something Chief had said is, usually your big name guys, your Sidney Crosby. I even saw Stamkos get it. Used to be protected by the refs. Your big names, Connor McDavid, they tend to, you step on their toe and you get a penalty on you. They do not protect Cooch at all. Those referees do not. And it's been widely assumed that the NHL is not a fan of Kucherov's, and with his whole all-star game kind of lackadaisy thing. So there is no protection on our team. You might see that in Kachuk in Florida, Kachuk in Ottawa. So they're going to have to grit this out, and they're going to have to score, and they're going to have to find a way to get these guys open. And if you're not going to have someone like Kucherov involved in it, then you're going to have to get that secondary scoring by Getzel, by Point, and then Connor Geeky, Anthony Cirelli, Nick Paul.
Listen, whenever you get a Luke Glendening goal, you know you're going to win the game.
Yep.
You're going to win. So we need some more Luke Glendening goals. But yeah,
Nick Paul was 8-2 on the faceoffs today too.
Yeah, faceoffs. The team won the faceoff battle today. And what I really liked, and I said this earlier before you were on, was when Nick Paul got that opportunity, it was a 2-on-1, and he smartly made the decision to shoot the puck. And what do you know? What happens sometimes when you shoot the puck? It goes in the back of the net. And that's what happened with Paul's shot. And he had the defender in between him, and I don't even know who he's out there with on that 2-on-1. But last second decides to shoot it. I think he wanted to pass it, typical Lightning fashion. But these guys need to keep firing the puck on net. If anything was proven tonight, in 22 shots on goal, 5 of them go in, Bobrovsky can be beaten. So that was proven tonight. But yeah, Paulie Tokens got him as the second star. I gave him I left him off, actually. I gave Gensel my first, Vasi my second, and Kucherov with his 3 assists as my third. But like you said, we got to have those backup players, the bottom 6 scoring goals, scoring points. We got that, and we got the superstars scoring goals today. That's the recipe to win the Stanley Cup. Can they continue to have both sides? Or when you can't score a goal like Thursday, can you have an unsung hero step up and score a goal when they needed them to, like what they needed on Thursday? Now, Thursday, we got railroaded by a 5-minute penalty in the middle of our comeback attempt with 10 minutes left. But tonight was a different story. I keep saying tonight. It's not even nighttime yet. Today was a different story as the Lightning win 5-1 and become one game closer to tying up the series.
Playoff Cooch, playoff Paulie, playoff Getzel, kind of playoff Point. We need playoff Yanni now. So let's call Yanni out on today's show and see how he comes out on Monday.
He had an assist, was a +1. Only 10 minutes on the ice tonight. Not a lot of ice time for Yanni.
No, because a lot of the PK. He doesn't get on there for that. Well, maybe he does.
No, I didn't see him out there for a PK.
So that's
mostly Gensel out there. Maybe if Sorelli goes in the box, he was out there for a little bit possibly. But 10 minutes is not a lot of time for him, especially if he was getting special teams time. But yeah, I think advantage Bolts. We're gonna get Hagel back. Like I said earlier, Hagel is gonna be skating very, very hard on Monday night. You think Hagel wants to score a goal?
for sure. 3 of them.
Yes. So Hagel's going to be on fire. Kachuk should be out. Ekblad did come back and made his return tonight. Was noticeable. Had some decent opportunities. Almost scored once on Vasi. But Vasi was a difference maker too tonight. I mean, he made some huge saves that kept the Panthers from tying up this game or even taking a lead when it was tied in the second period. So kudos to Vasi coming back strong. They need him. That is really my 2 keys to the next game. Vasi needs to stay in this form that he's been in since the second period of game 2. And then I really feel like, I know they didn't do it tonight, I really feel like the Bolts need to score the first goal. They score the first goal Monday, they control the game, and they win the game, and they come back tied on Wednesday.
What was stats on Radish?
What do you want? I'm the stat man.
Radish.
Darren Radish played 13 minutes and 30 seconds, 16 shifts, 1 shot, 3 block shots, and 1 hit. By the way, our block shots tonight went from, I think, 7 or 8 last game to 23. We decided to start blocking shots. What do you know?
Well, I like the move of them today with Hagel being out to add Radish in. I like Radish. We talked about that at the post game show the other night that I would switch Radish in there. I just think he has more experience. I think he has a better defensive mind, and he has a killer shot.
I'm not against keeping the 7D men, but then who are you taking out to get Hagel back in the lineup?
Yeah. Are you going to?
I think you need Chafee's physicality. Chafee's actually a tough physical player.
Yeah, but that's who Coop's been sitting, so.
Geeky might be the man on that list. 11 minutes, 9 seconds, 15 shifts, just a block shot and a penalty to show for.
What you have for Chafee?
Chafee had 14 minutes, so 3 more minutes, 18 shifts, 1 block shot, 3 hits. He's more physical. It's weird because Geeky, much like Hedman, big guy, doesn't get too physical.
Same as Hedman.
Hedman had 1 hit this game. 1.
Shocker.
Yeah, we talked about it. That's just not
not my captain.
It's never been Hedman's game. I have started to question Hedman if he's a good enough leader for this team. And you know what? Maybe he's part of this game 3 turnaround. We don't know what happens behind closed doors.
Yeah. Well, I know there's a lot of veteran presence in there. I mean, McDonough. I'm more scared of McDonough looking across the room at me and telling me to tighten up than I would be of Hedman doing it. McDonough just has that veteran presence that shove my fist down your throat, and I go for McDonough. I would have liked to seen McDonough be more of an active role, and I think that's what's going on in that locker room. And we got a lot of veterans. We got so many veterans, even still from the Stanley Cup team. Kucherov, Vasi, you have McDonough, Hedman, Point. So you got 5 there.
Reading Deandra Lou's tweet. This was from almost an hour ago. John Cooper, in response to Kachuk's hit on Gensel, the only players we hit are the ones with pucks.
Ooh. Oh.
Chirping at the Panthers coach.
Paul Maurice, yep.
You see a coach's fight here? I mean, it's kind of silly for Cooper to say that because the Hagel hit. But I'll tell you what, Barkov was way closer to that puck than Gensel was. Way closer. So
I was just looking. She's probably not watching because I haven't seen her comment. Michelle Blevins took that little snippet right off of his press conference where he said that, and yeah, he says it in all seriousness, and so that's gonna be good.
all right, I got the
I was watching Geeky's takedown of Rodriguez.
I got to get this over to Chrome somehow, I think.
Oh, congratulations to Ellis. The NHL made him the NHL's 4th star.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For
7 hours ago.
for
Ellis, a Tampa legend, and the Geico 4th star.
there you go, Ellis. If only I could dance like that man.
Yeah.
All right, I'm pulling up the clip here. Maybe. Misha on X reposted it.
Yeah, that's Michelle Blevins.
Oh, okay.
By the way, Bucci says that Kachuk, not a chance in the world Kachuk gets suspended.
What do you mean? How? How do you say that?
That's what he said.
How?
Someone said, based on the suspension from Brandon Hagel, I have to think the NHL looked at Matthew Kachuk's late hit also after the puck was long gone. And Bucci retweets it with not a chance in the world.
What is he talking about? How can you come away thinking that? Here's Coach Coop after the game.
You got to put the sound up. We can't hear it.
Can't put it up anymore. It's up all the way. Cooper likes to whisper into the microphone. Anyway, what he says is we don't hit players without the puck.
Yeah.
We already said it. Whoa! How do we get this thing off there? All right. I think that's our sign to sign off and figure out. It might be Thomas Schooley on his own on Monday, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, if Kachuk, I'm looking back at the comments here. If Kachuk is not suspended, I might just boycott the NHL. I'll support other hockey leagues. Let's see what else we got here in the chats before we go. Try to get caught up. I know we got it on the screen, but let's see what we got. Raymond says Geeky rang one off the crossbar today, plus he made that pass. I don't remember Geeky hitting one off the crossbar. I thought it was Paul that hit the post or crossbar. Orozco in the house. If he's not suspended, the DOPS has no leg to stand on. 100%. I have no idea how you tweet that he's not going to get suspended. Like Leah says here, number one bullshit.
So a stat: only 5 players in the NHL history with more playoff goals per game than Jake Getsall. Can you name any of the 5?
Gretzky.
He is 5th.
Messier.
Nope. Strike
Uh,
one.
this is playoffs.
Yes.
Kucherov.
Nope. Only
He's
5 players in
over and
NHL
out
history
a couple
more
years.
playoff goals per game than Jake
Lemieux.
Getzel.
Lemieux.
Lemieux is number 1.
Yeah, I thought so.
Mike Bossy, number 2. Maurice Richard, number 3.
Yeah, I don't go back to like 80s.
Cam Neely,
It's
4th. Cam Neely, 4th, and then Wayne Gretzky.
So real quick, because Token's asking, we got 3 other games today. One's happening right now. The Wild are actually up 2-1 over the Golden Knights. If you saw my bracket, I have the Golden Knights playing the Lightning in the finals, and both teams are down 2-1. But they are playing game 4 right now. Wild and Golden Knights. Do you think the Wild are going to pull it off and win this series? They are up and on the power play right now, 2-1 in the second.
I have them in 2 of my brackets taking it. I did want to say something that I saw a lot of the Lightning beat writers who did not agree that Hagel should have been suspended and that it wasn't a dirty hit. They were getting death threats from Florida Panthers fans. They were getting nasty messages. DeAndre was one of them who was getting all kinds of nasty things. And then I've seen just Tampa fans who have gotten those kind of responses. And then someone even out there putting Hagel's parents' names out there and where they live and where he lives and all kinds of stuff out there. That's childish. As much as we love this team, as much as we love this sport, there's nothing in this world that could happen in any of these games to be like, let me find out where Matthew Tkachuk lives. Matthew Tkachuk should die. It's just stupid, and it's great to see. We always talk about how Tampa fans are too soft on, sitting on their hands and everything, but at least we are kind of classier in the aspect of I have not seen any kind of death threats or anything for any of the Panthers people.
I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. Why? What are you doing if that's what you're spending your time doing?
Right.
The Lightning won. Even if your team loses or your guy gets hit, it's a game. Stop threatening people. What are we doing?
Last time I checked, neither of us get a check from the Tampa Bay Lightning.
No. All right. I know you had to bring us down here for a little bit, but what else? We got the Maple Leafs playing in Ottawa. The Maple Leafs are going for the sweep, and if they do get that sweep, they might have a week and a half off. Or no, I guess it would be a week and a day off potentially.
Their fans were chanting, "We want Florida" yesterday.
Careful what you wish for. You're going to get Tampa, though. You think they close it out tonight, or Senators sneak in a win?
I think Senators sneak in a win. I hope. I actually picked them a couple of brackets also.
I did pick the Senators to win that in 7, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. That's just because I hate the Leafs. Stars and Avalanche. I've been pretty vocal on the Avalanche are going to beat the Stars, but the Stars pulled out the last 2 games and are up 2-1. You think Avalanche are going to tie it up, or you think the Stars are going to take a 3-1 lead going back to Dallas?
Stars, I picked them too.
We'll watch that one tonight. I think it's going to be the game of the day tonight. So that's a 9:30 start time. So plenty of hockey left. Let's just go through the other series while we're here and not at some crazy bar. LA and Edmonton, talked about that. LA up 2-1. Edmonton gets kind of lucky, turns the tables in that third period to win the game. Do you think that they will win tomorrow and even up the series in Edmonton?
I think Edmonton evens it up, but I think the Kings win the series.
I'm with you there. I think the Kings are going to win that one. I think Edmonton might win it though to tie it up the series, but I had the Kings
Right.
6 or 7. Winnipeg's up 2-1. You think Winnipeg's going to end up winning that series?
Oh, for sure.
Washington lost one to Montreal. Can Montreal come back to beat Washington for the upset?
I don't know if they'll be the upset, but I think they might take them 6 or 7 games. Remember, Montreal's been a menace all year long to the top tier teams, whether it was Tampa, Washington, Florida, like all the top tier teams they beat and they swept the Panthers. I think they
Play well
can.
against us.
Yeah, I think they take them far, but I think Washington takes it.
And then the Devils showing some signs of life with the OT win. The Carolina Hurricanes have looked pretty damn good so far until they lost in overtime last night. Do the Devils turn this thing around versus Carolina?
I don't think so. I thought Markstrom would be better in goal, and I actually had the Devils in one of my brackets, but I think Carolina takes that.
Well, it's wild so far because a lot of these series teams have gone down 2-0, just like our Bolts, and pretty much all of them, except up in Ottawa, teams have come to storm back to make it 2-1. Every series is 2-1 right now, except for Toronto, which you and I both think Ottawa's going to pull off a win tonight.
Yep.
So let's see what else we got in the chat, and then we'll get the heck out of here. Leah's watching Minnesota and loving it. Hey, I did pick the Kings or the Golden Knights to go pretty far, but I ain't mad if Minnesota beats them in the first round either. So
one of my brackets, I have the Kings versus the Lightning in the Stanley Cup with the Lightning win it.
You're a sick man, Thomas Schooley. Let's see. Oh, Token Dave, when you live in a litter box, you become a piece of. Oh, leave that out. Raymond saying, I think the door opened up for Montreal. How Strome destroyed Thompson. His leg folded like a card table. Don't count New Jersey out. There you go. And Raymond says the Wild just went up 3-1. They must have scored on that power play. All right. Well, hey, all that matters to this guy is the Tampa Bay Lightning finally win another playoff game, this time on the road in Sunrise. They got to do it again on Monday, and I'm feeling really good about this team coming back with a tied series. I feel like they will be in control of the series if they can pull off the win on Monday. So, Schooley, what do you think?
Yeah, I think they come back and tie it, and Wednesday night, everybody needs to dig deep down and rock Emily, and because I think them coming back from a 0-2 is just going to propel them.
Well, the fans, I feel like, did their part in game 1 and 2. I feel like
They did.
Yeah, give us a home playoff win. We know we're gonna get at least one more game next Wednesday. So one game at a time. But yeah, winning game 4 on Monday in Sunrise will be huge. Could be a momentum shifter for this entire series, for this entire playoff run. It's so funny how 48 hours can change everything, Thomas Schooley. From Tuesday to Thursday, the team played better. From Thursday to Saturday afternoon, the team has turned something on, figured out a way to beat the Panthers.
They did have a practice yesterday. We also called that out at the last time. They had a practice before they flew to Sunrise, where they did not have practice before game 1 and 2.
Who would have thunk that practicing helps you win games?
Yeah, and I think that they might have practiced a little bit without Hagel in there just in anticipation.
Yep. All right. Post game for game 4. That is most likely going to be run by Mr. Schooley. I don't think I'm going to be available for the game 4 post game. We will see what happens on Monday, but we will keep you abreast of the situation. Follow at We the Thunder Pod. Game 5 tickets are available now if you want to use our code WTT Pod on SeatGeek.com. There are tickets available now. You can get $20 off your first time buying. Go now because you know Emily's going to be sold out. Go to SeatGeek.com. Helps us out too when you do that. So please, if you're going to buy tickets, go check out SeatGeek.com.
And if you use them before, get a second email address.
Oh, you rebel. You're not supposed to say that.
Oh,
Who's living on the edge here?
Hey, you can also, if you want to go down and go to Sunrise on Monday, you can also use SeatGeek there.
True. Yes. Drive down for the game Monday. Take the day off. Take a long weekend. And go down to Sunrise and use SeatGeek.com. You could probably get in for free with $20 off the way that things are. All right. Should we wrap this up? What are your keys? I said scoring first, and I said Vasi continuing to be the shutdown Vasi we know. What say you for Monday's game?
The Russians, Kuch and Vasi, I think have to play a part in the game and see how the team responds with Hagel coming back. See how pumped up he's going to be.
Okay. Yeah, I'm into Hagel coming back, and Tkachuk better be suspended. Better be. Is he? Is he going to get suspended?
No.
Are you kidding me?
Thank you, Espo.
What is going on?
Espo might not be able to hear these days. I don't know if you heard Schooley, but Espo.
But the bell tone, he does the audio. Yes.
It's my favorite commercial.
I'm like, oh my gosh. And the funny thing is they're right next door to my work. So I'm waiting for him to do some kind of personal appearance.
Proud Lightning sponsor. And now hopefully they've fixed Espo's ears. Now he can hear again. And hopefully he's hearing at least a game 4 and a game 5 and a game 6 win. That would do it for the Lightning. But yeah, hey, big Saturday. The series is not over. As I pointed out, I didn't bring this up on the show because I totally forgot, but I pointed it out on the old interwebs yesterday. This Panthers team almost lost the Stanley Cup after being up 3-0 last year. We can easily overcome 2-0 in the first round. We might not have McDavid and we might not have Draisaitl, but we've got Cooch, we got Vasi, we've got Point, we got Nick Paul, and we've got Brandon Hagel coming back. So I feel like the pressure is on them this next game. And if they lose, we're in pretty good shape here moving forward. So we're back, baby. Anything else?
Nope, let's get out of here.
This has been We the Thunder. Don't forget to be the Thunder.
That's it?